Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is about a koi fish I drew. I did draw it in my sketchbook first, and as you can see I also drew a bird above that. Lately I've been practicing trying to draw birds and fish and just like animals in general. So this was one of the first ones that I did to start sort of practicing. After this one, I plan on doing a sea turtle afterwards. I already have the sketch for that one done. I just have to actually put it onto paper and do the painting of it. So yeah, this one was just like a sort of quick sketch and then transferring it over from the light box. I didn't turn my light on for like my overhead light because I wasn't sure how it would look against the light box. I wanted to test how it looks against the light box and how it doesn't. And I think I'm just gonna have the light be on anyway. I don't think it's that much of an issue that it needs to be turned off while I'm doing light box work, so in the future I'm probably just gonna leave it turned on so it doesn't look as dark when I'm doing light box work. So right now I'm just putting down the base color of white on the paper for the koi fish, and then I'm going in with some orange colors, and there's really no pattern to this. I was just placing orange wherever I felt like orange should be, and then placing black wherever I thought black should be. And since I actually cut the paper for this one so that it was the right size I wanted it to be, I had some scrap paper left over, so I just took the watercolors that I wanted to use and or that I might want to use and do a quick color swatch there on the left hand side. And you can see that the numbers that I have written on there is the one that I plan on using. So I used like number 30 for the base color of like the orange, and then I go in later with 31 for the brighter red-orange color, and so on. So right now I'm just doing the water for the, I guess, the background of it. It's pretty simple. I just wanted to do almost like the koi fish was in a puddle, and that's what I plan on doing with like the sea turtle later on as well. I think I just wanted to do like a series on like just fish and stuff in general with this sort of theme of the puddle sort of and the animals inside of it. I don't know, I just think it turned out really nicely, and I want to continue working on that and working on the fact of my animals and getting better at drawing animals. I've really got out of my comfort zone with this. Lately I've been trying to draw lemurs in my sketchbook, and I definitely does not turn out as well as this did. I really have to continue practicing animals that are not as easy as, I guess, fish, because fish are pretty much one shape, continuous flowing shape, and then trying to sketch out like a lemur is kind of crazy because you have all the fur and everything, and I just couldn't get the face to look right. So yeah, it's definitely something I need to work on, and it's not something I'm very good at, but at least I'm working on it and getting out of my comfort zone with my art, which I don't do too often. But yeah, I'm just working right now on the puddle sort of thing, and later on right now I'm darkening it up, and it sort of turned into like a gradient almost, from like a darker blue to like a lighter blue at the bottom, and I don't know, I think I really like how that turned out. I wasn't like intentionally trying to do that, but by the end it just turned out that way, and I thought that it turned out really nice. I did have a lot of troubles with this piece because it was I just didn't want to wait, so I kept wanting to draw in color, and So with watercolors you do have to wait, and I was just not patient at all with it, so multiple times it kept bleeding through, and eventually at one point I was just like, I have to put this down and go do something else while it dries. Since it's such a small piece, I can't exactly just like, what I usually do with watercolors is I'll work in sections. So say if it's a character, I'll work on the girl's hair first and then work on, like, say her shoes, and then I'll go back up and I just go back and forth and try to work in sections that aren't touching each other so it won't bleed the watercolor. But since it's such a small piece, I couldn't just like work on the koi fish and the water because it's connected, so it would bleed onto each other. So yeah, I had to struggle with that and just be like, I have to put it down and walk away from it and let it dry so I don't mess it up more. But yeah, I think this piece turned out really nicely. One issue I have, again, is the fact that my black isn't super black, so I think I went over it twice to try to make it a little bit more pigmented. Like when I first start putting the black down, it looks really nice and looks black, but as soon as it starts drying, it's like turns into a dark gray, and it's just, I don't like it when it turns out like that. I'm also using these watercolor brushes too that hold water inside of them. I didn't really use the water inside of them that much for this drawing, but I at least was able to use it to get like thinner details. I did also go over this piece with inking as well later on because it wasn't getting the fine details that I want it to. So yeah, here you can see that my black bled into my orange because I just couldn't wait. And I'm going over the black again here because it's too gray. It just dries so like a muted color, and I guess black's not a color, but it's just so muted, and I don't like the way that this black is. I also drew some sakura petals as well along the water, and just like they were floating down from a tree. I feel like I probably should have, because like in the sketch you see there's a couple of sakura petals on the water puddle. In the sketch I drew that it made I guess water rings from hitting the water, but in the finished piece I just didn't do that, so I don't know if I should have just kept that in there or what, if it would have looked better. But yeah, so I feel like I should have probably done that though. Yeah, so right now I'm using some gouache on the painting. I'm not really a huge fan of this gouache. It doesn't actually tend to be super pigmented, and I have to put down quite a bit of layers for it to actually work, but it did its job well enough, and I just decided to use a jelly roll after I was done with the piece anyway, just to give the extra highlights, because the gouache just really didn't give any sort of like pigment to the white, to the water there. So yeah, I definitely don't recommend these, like this gouache that I got. I'm not sure what brand it is. I used it in the Zelda piece that I did for the Blood Moon one, and even then, like, it was the watercolors instead of the gouache because I couldn't even use the gouache for that piece. But yeah, it was super disappointing, just no pigment at all whatsoever. So now I'm just using my Sakura microns to just go over the piece. I really like the way that it turned out with the fine details to do this with, and it really just made everything sort of pop. I wasn't originally going to do this because I figured it would have enough a line to it as what it was, but by the end of it I just didn't like the way that it turned out, so I had to give it some more line work so that it didn't blend in with the water behind it as well, especially the white parts. But yeah, I believe I used the brown one on that one. And here I'm going back over it again with some gouache where the micron just went over the piece a little bit too much and took out too much of the white. And I'm just layering over the last parts with the gouache too. Just really trying to get that white to really shine through. I could not get it to work the way that I wanted to with that white. Oh yeah, I also used just like plain old Scotch tape this time, and I just couldn't find my painter's tape. But yeah, that's the end of the video for today, so thanks so much for watching, and if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next Sunday for next week's video. Thanks for watching, bye!